From Mencari Newsroom at redmencari.com.
Good evening, I'm Miko Santos, and this is our today's rundown for Tuesday, April 29, 2025. In a world where geopolitical tensions are reshaping the global alliances and domestic politics continue to heat up, we bring you the stories that matters most. Stay with us for the latest developments that are shaping our world. Here's our news. Prime Minister Mark Carney has secured a stunning victory in Canadian federal election, completing one of the most dramatic political turnarounds in recent history. Just months ago, the Conservative Party led by Pierre Poilievre was ahead by as much as 20 points in the polls, before Donald Trump's re-election and threats of tariff against Canada fundamentally altered the political landscape. In his victory speech, Carney declared that
our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade, anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves, and above all, we have to take care of each other.
The newly elected Prime Minister pledged to build, baby, build, focusing on a new housing, energy corridors, and strengthening relationship with partners beyond the United States. The election saw the highest vote share for Canada's two major parties in nearly a century, with voters rallying behind their preferred national leaders in the face of external pressure. Former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull described Carney as absolutely the man for the times, noting his experience handling multiple crises as governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England.
Look, he is absolutely the man for the times. He is a brilliant economist. He's handled crises, the global financial crisis when he was governor of the Bank of Canada. He's handled the Brexit crisis when he was governor of the Bank of England. He is, and the COVID crisis, I might say as well. So he's really good at handling tough times. He's a mighty intellect. Very successful businessman, and look, let me put it this way. If anybody else was Prime Minister of Canada at the moment, they would want to hire Mark Carney to advise them.
Meanwhile, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese also congratulated Carney.
It's good that Mark Carney, I think, has shown in the short time that he's Prime Minister that he's determined to represent the national interests of Canada. His re-election will be a significant victory for him and his party. I congratulate him. It's important that the democratic processes take place. We should never take it for granted. Well, Mark Carney has stood up for Canada's national interest just as I stand up for Australia's national interest.
With just a day remaining before the Australian election, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and opposition leader Peter Dutton are making their final pitches to voters across the country. In Brisbane today, Prime Minister Albanese focused on housing policy, criticizing Green MP Max Chandler Mather for personally holding up investments in affordable housing. Albanese promoted Labour $43 billion investment in housing through the Homes for Australia plan, which includes increased social housing, affordable housing, and private rentals.
Because we know that the local MP here has personally held up, as the Greens Party housing spokesperson, held up investments like this, has held up investments in the Housing Australia Future Fund, held up the Help to Buy scheme, which is about shared equity in home ownership, held up the Build to Rent scheme that's about private rental properties. That will result in well over 6 figures of houses being built, according to the Property Council, according to the industry.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Peter Dutton campaigned in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales, promising immediate cost of living relief through a 25 cents a litre cut in fuel and 1,200 back by the way of tax rebate. Dutton emphasized his commitment to making housing more affordable by cutting migration and restricting foreign buyers.
The election really is about how we can help Australians manage to get through the disaster of the last 3 years. I want to make sure that Australians understand our vision for our country. It is about helping families right now, immediately after the election, a 25 cent a litre cut in fuel, $1,200 back by way of tax rebate. That's tax you've paid, giving it back to you. We want to manage the economy so that we can bring down inflation rates and therefore bring down interest rates. I want to make sure...
Green leader Adam Band defended his party housing spokesperson Max Chandler Mather, whom the Prime Minister have accused of delaying housing legislation. Band criticized Labour housing policy as supporting unlimited rent rise and $180 billion in hands out to wealthy property investors. In an interview at ABC Australia, Band stated that
Well, I thought it was pretty brave of the Prime Minister to go to Brisbane to spruik Labor's policy of unlimited rent rises and $180 billion in handouts to wealthy property investors and sending already unaffordable house prices soaring by 8 to 15%. And I think with the experts saying that Labor and Liberals' housing policies are a dumpster fire of bad ideas, people realise that you can't keep voting for the same two parties and expecting a different result. And I mean, as to Max Chandler Mather is the member for renters and first home buyers. He's done more than anyone in Parliament for renters and first home buyers, including through the negotiations that the Prime Minister was referring to, securing an extra $3 billion for public and community housing, money going out the door now that was never on the table in Labor's original plans.
The Australian Electoral Commission is investigating potential foreign interference in the seat of Kooyong after video emerged showing a volunteer wearing independent MP Monique Ryan's shirt, claiming they were required to support her as member of the Hubei Association, which has alleged link to the Chinese Communist Party. Ryan has acknowledged the video but denied asking the association to endorse her.
Because I don't want there to be any concerns about this, and in the interest of full transparency, I've contacted the AEC and the Department of Parliamentary Services and given them the details that I gave to the AG yesterday about my relationship with those volunteers and with Mr G. And I've said, look, if you've got any concerns, please investigate.
That's our today's rundown. For more in-depth coverage and analysis of these stories and more, visit readmencari.com, subscribe to our daily newsletter. We're committed to bringing you the accurate, timely reporting on the issue that matters most. You can also listen to our podcast of all major platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Your support helps us continue our investigative journalism, provide quality reporting you deserve. From all of us at the News Desk, I'm Mika Santos. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Subscribe to Mencari for news with authentic Gen X perspective. Cutting through the noise with zero fluff. Available now across all podcast platforms. News without the noise, perspective without the panic.